Hi everyone, Hugo here, one of the co-hosts of the show. What you're about to watch is a highlight from one of our most recent episodes. To get access to the full version, receive 2 exclusive episodes a month, get every episode 1 week early, and help us stay as independent as possible, support us on Patreon through the link below. Thank you. Now enjoy the show.
And I will say this points to the defense, at least, in their case. Luigi walks into this place, allegedly, with the same backpack, all of the jackets, every jacket that he wore, and a handwritten manifesto that's a page long stating,
"Boy, I love the cops." Yeah.
The manifesto is crazy. Yeah. The gun, the suppressor, hollow point bullets, basically everything.
Yeah.
Everything, and the note itself effectively does say like, "Hello, my name is Luigi. I did the crime."
Number one.
Like that's like that's what it says. It starts off. The note starts off thanking the police.
Yeah, it's so funny.
Like they couldn't help themselves.
It's so Italian. He even has a little bit of class consciousness, but it's like Italian class consciousness. So he's like, "The police, are you good? My mama, she's sick. I go shoot." Like it's literally the whole thing. It's incredible. You with my mama.
Polizia stradale, it's amiga Luigi. I did the crime, but he had it coming. That's like. But they picked him up. They ran him through almost immediately to arraign him. They arraigned him in Pennsylvania on false. He had fake IDs on him. He gave a false identification. That's not a huge deal. Like that's a minor. That's the least of his worries, obviously.
But I'll stop you before we get to the courtroom, though.
Yes,
before we get to the courtroom, and we are literally putting a pause on the little game we're playing as his actual representatives. How big of a chance do you think this, like, unironic, like, I'm genuinely not being ironic, that this is not him? How big do you think?
Look,
Or is it too much tinfoil?
No. I don't think it's, look, we're talking about the U.S. government here. We're talking about the FBI at a high level. They were doing a full court press manhunt for this guy. They put out the FBI themselves put out a $50,000 reward for this guy. And most importantly, he didn't kill a random guy in the street. He killed the CEO of a Fortune 500 company. They want to the rich and powerful people in this country want to lock this down immediately. They do not want. They're already freaking out that everybody online is fucking loving this and having a field day with it and laughing and making jokes. Rachel Maddow went on MSNBC and tried to compare him to Ted Kaczynski, which I'm sorry, he's not like Ted Kaczynski. He's, if you know anything about Ted Kaczynski, because he rated Ted Kaczynski's manifesto on Goodreads. Who cares? Like, you know what I mean? Look at my social media. Do you know the shit they would say about me? They'd be like, "Oh, this guy."
He literally copied my look. What are you talking about? He copied my look. I was doing this before him.
He copied my whole fucking flow. Word for word, bar for bar.
There is very clearly to me a deep desire to lock this down and get it done with.
Of course.
And it obvious, it definitely begs the question of what kind of guy executes a great crime. I mean, like, does a great job.
Yes.
Kills a person in broad daylight in Midtown Manhattan, gets a state away. Okay, that's a success. That is a success. They successfully commit this crime, and then a week later, basically, or not a week later, but several days later, doesn't have the foresight to get rid of the murder weapon, the suppressor,
burn the
to have
clothes.
everything on it.
Yeah.
Now, people can say, well, he had the manifesto, and his manifesto says why he did what he did, and blah, 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 right? But the thing is, okay, like, maybe, but also, what the fuck? Like, is it that simple? Would he open the goddamn manifesto thanking the feds? First sentence? I want to say, I have a lot of respect for the federal authorities. Sorry for, like, causing problems.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I can see it go. I can see it either way. Truly. Yeah. And I think that the response on the internet, and I know that the internet is not necessarily the best, like I don't know, like a bellwether for what is like rational thought. But people are suspect. Like they're like, what is this? I don't know.
Yeah.
Why did this rich guy go and do this? And it depends on Luigi, to be honest. It's up to Luigi. It's Luigi's life, But I will say that Luigi is now in the hot seat, right? Mm-hmm. So now he has to make a very serious decision, which is, am I prepared to just take it and then go to prison for this shit? Or am I actually going to fight in a way where my best chance of winning this case? And I think the best chance of winning the case, I think the best chance of winning the case is saying it wasn't me. That's the best chance of winning the case, realistically. It's not fun because you know what? People want this to be the trial of the century. Do you know what I mean? People want the lawyer to bring in the witnesses, the people whose their mother died, they lost their house. They want to do this shit. They want to put Brian Thompson on trial. I know that I would want to put Brian Thompson on trial, right? But the thing is, at the end of the day, the power of in our minds, the power of the prosecution, of a prosecutor to come in and say, this is about law and order. We can't do this in our society. We can't just make these decisions. The power of the judge who's going to tell the jury when they read the jury instructions, you must do this. You must, even though they don't have to do it, right? We can talk about jury nullification later. Even though they don't have to do it, the judge says to the jury, you must, if you think he intentionally did this and he did this, then you must find him guilty. That is very powerful to a regular Joe person. And they're going to go, he did it, though. He did it.
I fuck with it, but he did it. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. That happens all the time, right? So it's really up to Luigi because it's not up to his attorney, right? Luigi's got to make the decision of I didn't do it. If he wants to make that case, you know?
Yeah. And from what I've seen, they are pleading not guilty.
Of course.
Over in Pennsylvania, but yeah. There is this happens all the time when, for example, international law where, these big heads of state or, heads of armies, while they were doing some fucked up, shooting mother up for their particular ideological concept of what is right and what is wrong, end up going through the courts after a particular conflict ends. And it goes two ways. Either they go full on, I fucked them up, I think they're inferior human beings or some reactionary, or they go full oh no please I did not do it, etc. etc. That completely changes how much they can be used by whatever ideological current they used to represent previously as a future hero, future somebody to aspire to, etc. etc. And you brought up an extremely good point with depending on the direction they take when it comes to the Luigi's defense. Depending on the direction they take, it's really going to alter whether he remains a celebrated American hero or a guy who did it but then kind of changed his mind, which obviously that's not why people say I'm innocent and want to defend themselves. They do it because they don't want to go to jail for 50 years.
Yes.
But that's how it's going to be spun. That's literally how it's going to be spun, and it's going to work. On a regular normie, it's going to be he rushed to do it because his mom and his own experiences, and now he changes his mind. Kids look at him. He's a great example on why you shouldn't shoot CEOs, etc., etc. So that's really going to alter. I didn't even think about that. Did you see his current lawyer in Pennsylvania or whatever the fuck?
Dickey.
He looks very oily, which I think is good.
Good.
Yes.
I saw him. I was like, I know this guy. Yeah, this is good. And I mean, I don't literally know this guy, but I've seen this guy before.
Seen his type,
yeah. I'm like, this is the kind of guy you want. The kind of guy the news asks him something. They're like, I don't see any. I don't know what evidence I'm seeing that connects this guy.
Murder.
It's amazing. This is why I love defense lawyers though, because it is the most fun job in the world. They just want to be they have the gun and the suppressor and his note and his fingerprints and this, and you're just I don't really. I mean, I don't know. What? It's illegal to own a gun? What?
Ladies and gentlemen, I ask you this: when has an Italian ever attempted to be quiet in public? Why would this man use a silencer?
Yeah, exactly.
Thank you for watching. To gain access to the full episode, receive 2 exclusive episodes a month, get every episode 1 week early, and help us stay as independent as possible, support us on Patreon through the link below.